this thing focused? I don't know. Okay guys, so this is gonna be a story time. I was supposed to do it while I did my makeup, but I can't coordinate that way. So where do we begin? So I want to say, like, this is about the time I decided to run for Miss Chicago. Yes, I ran for a beauty pageant. At first I wasn't going to do it. The idea was brought up to me by a good friend of mine. He suggested that I run for a beauty pageant because, you know, I don't know, he was so confident that I would win, and he was so confident that I would excel in this, and he actually convinced me to do it. So at first I wasn't convinced. Then I talked to like my sister and like my friends, and they were like, yeah, sure, I definitely think you should do a beauty pageant. Like, what? No, definitely. Still wasn't really convinced, but there was just a lot of things that I wanted to bring awareness to, so that really was the reason for me to do it. So I contacted a choreographer because I decided I was going to do a dance routine with it. I would just have to admit that I got my hands a little tied up. I decided to go on a trip, and when I came back, it was literally like 3 weeks until the pageant, and there was no way I could possibly learn a whole dance routine in 3 weeks. I mean, for other people, yes, but for me, I work full-time, and you know, I'm always like hustling. I have like 5 different jobs, and I was opening up a salon with my sister, so I just didn't really have a lot of time to really focus on a pageant and a whole dance routine. So with that being said, one night I was just scrolling through my Tumblr, just through my things, while I was writing my social initiative, and I came across a poem that I had written around the time that I was going through something. So part of the reason why I wanted to join the pageant was because I wanted to bring awareness to abuse and the different types of abuse, especially domestic violence. Domestic violence is an issue or something that I've dealt with in the past, and I know a lot of females around me that have dealt with it, even some of them that I knew that were going through it but didn't know they were going through it and weren't comfortable speaking up about it. And to this day, like, they still haven't really said anything. I mean, but we all know, but they haven't said anything about it. So that was just really important for me, and the story hit home. So when I came across this poem that I wrote this poem around the time I was going through my domestic violence situation, and writing was just a creative outlet for me to discuss my problem and what I was going through just to myself. I decided that I was going to change my talent from dancing to poetry, and I was just going to fix up that poem and read that during that, because I felt like it tied in with my social initiative and all of that. So let's just fast forward. Sunday, February 9th, day of the pageant. So when I got to the pageant, I noticed that a lot of the girls were veterans. They've done this, they've been doing this since they were little kids. Me, on the other hand, I have not. The one time that I came close to joining a pageant was when I lived in Africa, and I grew up in Africa kind of poor, not kind of, very poor, because my country went to 2 civil wars. Well, they were about to go into the second one before I left. I left in time, I should say. My mom wanted me to join the pageant so that she could raise money for me to possibly come to America. But fortunate for me, my uncle kind of saved the day, and I ended up going to America the following year. So I never actually got to join the pageant, and when this opportunity came about, that was one of like the main things and reasons that came to my head. So anyways, all these girls were all veterans and stuff like that, and I was like the only pageant virgin, is what they call it. So when I got there, everybody did their makeup, we got to know each other, we went through rehearsal. The first part of the pageant was, I'm gonna throw a clip in here at some point, but the first part of the pageant was an interview part. So pretty much they were going to interview about your social initiative, what your topic was, why you chose that, and just a bunch of random other things that they were going to interview you about. So I went in, I was unsure, but I didn't mind because I've been through these things before. Like, I've done modeling, so I know what it's like to compete with other women, and You know, I've had jobs before, so I know what interviews are like. So I wasn't too scared. So when I got there, they asked me about my initiative and why I chose that topic. I told them that domestic violence hits home for me because I've experienced it. I've watched my mother experience it. I have friends that have experienced it, and it's just been something that unfortunately has brought me a lot closer to a lot of women, and I want to use my voice to, I don't know, help any way that I can. So they asked me a bunch of questions, and one thing they asked me about was like, why did I protest protest against police brutality? So why did I do that? Of course, I'm very outspoken and I really don't care. I told him, I was like, I spoke out against police brutality and I decided to protest because when I was younger, I watched my brother pretty much get arrested for something he didn't do. So one day my parents and I were leaving Sports Authority, and next thing you know, my brother, we already purchased everything, we left out the store, we're like at our car. Next thing you know, and we're all like, okay. And then next thing you know, they arrest my brother, and my dad's like, what's going on? Like, let him go. And police officer was like, no, you know, we've been looking for him, we finally got him, blah, blah, blah. All I can remember is that I'm sitting there, I'm just crying my eyes out because, like, as a young girl, like, I was getting flashbacks from when I lived in Africa, and all those military men would be standing like at the corner and with their guns and things like that. Like, they weren't good people. So like that incident gave me like flashback, and I started just bawling my eyes out because I felt so bad for my brother. Like, I couldn't believe he was going through this. Like, he was being like racially profiled right there in front of my face, and there was nothing we could do about it unless, you know, eventually they let him go. They figured it was the wrong guy. Like, the Sports Authority people had to confirm that, you know, they watched him purchase those things and it was all good. But it was just so scary. So that's what I did it, and that's why I told them. And then I told them, you know, how this pageant, how I feel like with this pageant and what I'm doing could marry and become something. But, you know, I don't know how they felt about it. They really didn't get, they all had like poker faces, so you don't know if what you told them really like sewed or what. But moving forward, I went back, I felt really good because I felt like I answered every question the best way I knew how. I called my sister right away, I told her what happened, I still felt good. Then the next segment of the pageant was the talent portion. I get up there, a lot of these girls, most of them were singers, they were singing. Unfortunately, I don't have a talent like that. I can't sing and I can dance, but I'm not a dancer. Like, I don't like practice that shit like at all. So I do know poems and I do know poetry, and I know how to express myself really well. So I got up there and I did my poem, and like I said, it tied into everything that I was about and that I was doing. So I read my poem. My friend heard it, she said I did well, so shout out to you, Julia. And yeah, I felt really good because I felt like I released a lot of like things that I was holding inside. So that was over, and the next portion was like the cocktail dress. We wore that. It was like a black cocktail dress, you know, walk, spin around, judges look at you, woohoo, okay. So the next portion was the gown portion. I'm gonna insert a clip here so you guys can see what happened at that moment, but let's just say I wore the gown and you were supposed to give like a short 60 character, kind of like a tweet about what your social initiative was, because the audience doesn't really know what that is or what it was about. I thought that I was gonna get to read my social initiative. That's why I was so excited and things like that, because I knew that it was going to help me, at least, because again, I don't sing, I don't play an instrument, so all I got is like my brains and you know, I do like art related talent, not like a talent like you can just know it's like a talent, no. So anyways, I'm gonna insert the clip of that moment. And when
yes, yes, Black Magic, yes, okay.
As a victim and a survivor of abuse, I would say the first step is identifying abuse. Most people think that abuse only comes in one form, which is physical, but the sooner you know, the sooner you can save a life.
Yes! Woo!
Once I got up there, I read it. I still went back feeling okay. I felt good. Like, I heard my friends cheering me on through the process. I was feeling good. Then we came back out and we all lined up. And at this moment, they were going to tell us who won the pageant. So they first started out with the misses. All the little girls got their titles. Then they gave out like Miss Influencer, Miss this, Miss that, you know, just a bunch of random titles. Okay, I'm like, okay, they're doing random things, cool. Like, get to the point. So they gave out like Miss Gold Coast, they gave out Miss Windy City, they gave out Miss Cook County. First of all, I didn't even know those were titles, okay? At this point, I was convinced they were just making this up, but whatever. So here it comes, time to crown Miss Chicago. My heart was pacing. You know, even though this wasn't something that I initially wanted to do, because I'm just kind of against pageants. I'm not against it, but I don't really like things that put women against each other in that type of way. But I could see why this could be a good thing for a lot of people. And I also have friends that ran in pageants, so, you know, again, it wasn't really my thing. So anyways, my heart's pacing, moment comes up. They said Miss Chicago is not me. Yeah, not me. Not me at all. Like, I didn't even come close. I didn't even get one of those fake titles like Miss Digital Princess or something. Like, no. I felt like they didn't even acknowledge my presence. I felt like they didn't even know I was there. I felt confident about my initiative. I thought that I think abuse is very important. And I think overall that's still a problem today, where people don't even know they're in abusive relationships because they can't identify it. So yeah, it was a very, very much an important topic for me, and I really want to get my message across. Anyway, so I lost a pageant. I was sad. I was devastated. I didn't really stay long to do anything. I kind of just packed my things and left. I was kind of a sore loser. I will admit to that. So anyways, I was devastated. Like, I felt like I put my all into this and I didn't even get anything. So I was kind of heartbroken. My friends tried to tear me up and like try to, you know, convince me to go out and go get tacos and all of that. I just was not in the mood. I did not want nothing to do with no damn tacos. I certainly did not want to celebrate anything. But they were like, oh, what are you doing? You did a great job. Like, that was a lot of guts, Char. I'm like, no. I said no because I felt like I was my most vulnerable. I felt like I put a lot of information about myself out there, and I spoke up for a cause that was important to me. And they just didn't even like, they just didn't do anything. It's like I wasn't there. But whatever. Here's a stupid paper now. But whatever. I mean, it's not a big deal. So anyways, I came home, I cried. I was upset. I literally was like upset. But I also felt bad because a lot of people were cheering me on and rooting for me, and I kind of had to explain to them that I didn't win the pageant and I just didn't place at all. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking for me, and maybe that could have been part of the reason why I felt so bad. I'm not sure, but all I know is I felt really bad because even though I wasn't sure at first, but once I was going through the process, I was convincing myself that this is where I wanted to be. So anyways, for days on end, I didn't feel that great. Then finally, I got over it because I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, you know what? Are you really about to be down about a stupid beauty pageant? Like, are you serious, Char? Is this really something that's going to make or break you? Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you even giving it this much attention? You have so much going on. You just opened a salon. Like, you got a lot going on. You have a lot on your plate. Like, can you even handle that? No. This is not even something you were 100% sure about. True. So why are you upset? Is it because you were vulnerable and you put your heart on the line? Yeah. Okay. So after talking to myself and like, you know, doing some type of like Leo type self-therapy, I got over it. And because you know what, it's not about the pageant. At the end of the day, I still got my message across. I don't know who in that audience needed to hear that, but they heard it. And you just never know. God, you have your plans and God has his plans. Like, at first I was like, why God? Like, why would you have me go out there and just embarrass myself like that? Like, why did you have to use this as an example to even, why? I could have just stayed home. I didn't even need to be there. But again, you have your plans, God has his plans, and he said that wasn't the path for me. Now, to answer your question before you guys even ask me, will I be joining a pageant again? The answer is no. I'm honestly good. I feel like I got it out of my system. I came to do what I wanted to do. I did it. And just because I didn't get a title or recognition for it, it doesn't change how I feel. I think pageants are great for those women that have been doing it for a long time. And if that's where you see yourself, then, you know, kudos to you. But for me, I've always saw myself more as like an independent person. I kind of want to make my own way. Yes, the pageant would have been great if I wanted, but, you know, obviously that's not the way it's going to be for me. And, you know, I'm not really... I actually kind of forgot all about it, to be honest. The only reason why I remembered or why I even thought to tell this story is because my roommate and I were having a conversation with a bunch of other girls, and we're doing like a circle of affirmations. And it was my idea because I like to do those things because they help people. Like, they help you feel good. Like, you know that people are acknowledging you, people are seeing what you got going on, and it's not just you. So it's me and her sisters, which are like my sisters also, and we all went around in circles and told each other like how we felt. Like, I pretty much like, I see you, you're killing it. So she got to me, and I don't know if it's just because we got a closer relationship or what the case may be, but she pretty much was like, Shar, I've watched you take a lot of L's in life since I've known you, and I've seen you lose jobs, I've seen you lose things that were important to you, I've seen you lose modeling gigs, I've seen you walk away from jobs, I've seen you lose your mom, I've seen you lose a beauty pageant, but your strength to like keep going. And I'm like, when she said lose a beauty pageant, I was like, wait, I did lose all those things. Like, even though she didn't have to say it the way she said it, but whatever, I still took it like, wow, like I did lose all those things. And you know what, I thought the world was going to end at that moment, and the world didn't end, like, obviously, but I really thought it was the end of the world. Like, I literally would be praying to God, like, why me, like, why do you have to make me so bold and so daring? Like, sometimes I had to even ask myself, like, did you really mean to do that? Like, and I never had the answer. I just have to just keep going. So in this case, the scenario, I just have to keep going, and I just want to pretty much I'm pretty much hoping that this video can help anybody out there who feels like the world's about to end for whatever small reasons, or what if they didn't get the gig or the job or just anything like that. I just like want to tell you that it keeps going, because trust me, there was just so many times I thought that I was just that was just it for me. Like, so many times. It probably last week too, or even yesterday too, I don't know. But so many times I just thought that it was going to end, and it didn't end. So yeah, thank God for that. And I just want to encourage you and inspire you to just keep going, and that, you know, don't give up. And just because that way didn't work out, there's always another way. And like I said earlier, you have your plans, and then God has his plans. So don't give up, keep going. We're gonna keep going together, and you know, it's not the end. So I hope you like this story time, and if you guys want me to do more story time, comment below, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll see you in my next video. And I don't know what's gonna come first, if I'm going to post my makeup video, but I also have how I got here to this look. I was originally going to do it as I tell the story, but I'm not that coordinated. So it has to be one or the other. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, thumbs up, subscribe, all that. Store it in your pocket. But also, I would like to bring awareness that if you know somebody that's going through any type of abuse, you know, speak up. Speak up, speak to them. They may not appreciate it now, but telling on them also helps. Telling their mom, telling their sister, uncle, cousin, whoever, anything. Because someone did it for me, and I was pissed. But at the end, look at me now. Beauty pageant, I lost it. Look at me now. I lost jobs. I'm still standing. I've lost modeling gigs. Still standing. I lost a parent. I'm still here. Life goes on. And that's all I'm here to tell you. That life goes on. Thank you for watching.